welcome to my astrology channel. This is Martine, and if you are new here, I do videos on Vedic astrology topics with slight influences from tropical techniques. I also focused on both natal and relationship astrology, and if you like the video and you would like to hear more content from me, please like, subscribe, hit the notifications bell. And also, if you're interested in a personal consultation, please email me at the email that I will leave in the video description. Thank you. And before anything, I hope you are all doing well and you all have a happy Halloween, because this whole year has been one prolonged Halloween. But enough of my inner monologue. It's been a while since I recorded a video, so it will take a while for me to get used to talking again. So yeah, anyway, today I wanted to do a video that has been long overdue, namely Venus in Pisces, the last but not least of the Venus through signs series that I started a long time ago. And hopefully I will get to making another video on synastry relationships. If you have any ideas about what you would like to hear first, maybe any topics that you might be interested in, feel free to give me ideas. I do have some ideas on what I want to start on the next video that I want to make on relationships, but I haven't really decided yet. That's why I'm open for suggestions if there's any particular topic that you might be interested in. Yeah, without further ado, let me get into the Venus in Pisces description. So, Venus is actually exalted in Pisces. Pisces is the most romantic sign of the zodiac, and Venus is the planet of love and affection, among other things. So Venus is very happy to be in Pisces, even though, funny enough, according to Vedic astrology, Pisces is ruled by Jupiter. There is no Neptune in Vedic astrology. So basically, by sign rulership alone, Venus in Pisces might not sound like the happiest placement for Venus, simply because Jupiter and Venus are actually enemies. But not bitter, not the worst enemy clash out there, since both of these planets are quite mellow. But there is a clash nevertheless, because Venus represents physical pleasures, hedonism, material luxury, and all that stuff, whereas Jupiter rules the higher realms of human consciousness, like higher learning, philosophy, religion, everything that has to do with divinity and connecting to the higher, the crown chakra, the third eye, all that stuff, like all the higher energies that human beings are capable of, and getting as close to God as possible. One thing that I can say about Venus in Pisces, according to traditional texts, is that for a woman especially, it actually shows kind of a decreased interest in not romantic, but like eroticism. So even though it is the most romantic placement for Venus, it's also kind of I would say almost asexual in nature, because here Venus wants to experience a very pure spiritual love. It's kind of like a connection to God almost. And this is, the natives who have this Venus placement, especially the women, because again, the women identify more with their feminine planets than the man. For a man, this will show the kind of woman that he is attracted to. So, for a woman especially, it will show that she is very romantic, and like extremely romantic, and she absolutely needs a spiritual connection with the partner. And they are also very, very sensitive and very emotional, empathetic, to the point where they can literally become enmeshed into the other person's personality to the point where they start to lose sight of their boundaries and their own individuality. So this is something that they really need to be careful about, because they are very sensitive and they have high romantic ideals, so they need to be careful not to be taken advantage of in relationships and with regards to human interactions in general, because again, Pisces rules unconditional love. So these people, they're not just interested in romantic love, they will be full of love for everybody and everything out there. So these are the kinds of people that can start to feed stray animals around, the kind of people that will adopt a lot of stray animals and stuff like that. Like, they will have a great deal of empathy for any living creature. In fact, Buddhism is something that I would definitely see as a religion that Venus in Pisces will be naturally attracted to, because it's all encompassing and it's about showing empathy to every living creature. But Buddhism or not, Venus in Pisces will definitely be attracted to all things spiritual, much like Aquarius, but Aquarius being an air sign and being more rational and being more emotionally detached, they are less likely than Venus in Pisces to actually engage with an organized religion. Venus in Pisces might really feel the need to subscribe to a particular religion, to be a part of a religious community. They will really enjoy that. Like, these are the kinds of people that would enjoy, for instance, singing in the church choir, or just being part of the community, maybe doing charity work, things like this. And this is, having to do with general interest, because Venus rules interest. And hobbies and things that you love, things you value. It also shows how you make your money. And Venus in Pisces is kind of moody. They ebb and flow, again, because it's a water sign. It is the last of the water signs, and it's mutable water. Scorpio is fixed water, and Cancer is cardinal water. So Pisces actually, at least from the Vedic perspective, is viewed more like running water, because it is a mutable sign, and mutable signs are seen as being in motion a lot more than the other modes of expression. So Venus in Pisces can be moody, very changeable. So they are, again, be very careful if you have this placement not to be too gullible. These kinds of people can be easily bamboozled by aggressive marketing techniques. Not just aggressive marketing techniques, but actually things that kind of touch on their sensitive side, their empathy. They might be a sucker for a sad story, and this is true in general in life. So they need to be careful not to fall prey to people who will try to manipulate them, because they sense the fact that Venus and Pisces people are so empathetic, and they're always kind of ready to lend a helping hand. And that's kind of what I wanted to say, that there might be victims to going on shopping sprees, or like binge shopping or stuff like that, to soothe their emotions, because Venus is also about what kind of approach you have towards your finances. Obviously, of course, there are going to be influences based on other placements, other aspects to Venus, house placements, and all of that. So this is just a general feel for Venus in Pisces. And what else can I say? Also, Pisces, of course, being a water sign, ruling the great unknown and all that, it has to do with everything to do with maritime stuff. So oceans, sea travel, all of this stuff. So like a Venus in Pisces person might be an area of interest, or actually the kind of art that they're interested in could be connected to this kind of thing. And not just necessarily maritime things. This could be a literal influence, because Pisces rules all things to do with marine life, with water, with all this stuff. So anything that flows. So when it comes to fashion, they're gonna love flowy things. They're gonna love, I don't know, like veils, satin clothes. The colors that they love are all shades of blue, turquoise, the colors of the sea. They will, when it comes to women, they will definitely love jewelry that has like, made from seashells, pearls, stuff like that, stuff that reminds them of the sea. And it depending on whether there are other influences, this could literally show somebody who might be attracted to professions that are connected to the sea, to travel, long distance travel as well, because Pisces corresponds to the 12th house, which is really long distance travel, like in between continents and stuff like that. And aside from that, it also rules everything to do with imagination, with psychic abilities. And, Venus in Pisces will definitely love things like fortune telling, like tarot, and, everything that kind of engages the intuition, the sixth sense. And by the way, fun fact, did you know that fish actually have a sixth sense? They have something called I think it's called the vertical line. It's an organ that they use to determine water pressure. I'm not sure if all fish have this, but I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that I read about it. So anyway, I always thought this was a funny thing, because you always, in astrology, you always read about Pisces having a sixth sense, and it turns out that fish actually do have a sixth sense. Just a fun fact. So yeah, everything to do with imagination. So they will definitely be, people with Venus in Pisces, they will definitely be drawn to all forms of art, but especially music, because they remember, it's always connected to the idea of, and not just the idea. See, this is really the fundamental difference. Both Aquarius and Pisces are actually spiritual. And for those of you who maybe have seen the Venus in Aquarius video, I have mentioned there that actually in Vedic Astrology, Aquarius is seen as more spiritual than Pisces, because of this concept called the Bhavad Bhavam or something like that. So because Aquarius is the 12th sign from the 12th sign of the zodiac, which is Pisces. So if you start counting with Pisces, the 12th sign from Pisces is Aquarius. And this idea of the 12 from the 12th sign is kind of like a higher octave of Pisces. So Aquarius is actually seen as more spiritual than Pisces, but Aquarius, being an air sign, is very intellectual and rational, and they're more concerned with the ideas, and this is why Aquarius is actually unlikely to join organized religion, for instance, because they enjoy the idea of God and pursuing higher knowledge and learning about the mysteries of life and the divine plan and all that, but they approach everything from like a rational point of view, whereas Pisces, being an emotional water sign, they are really interested in connecting to the feeling of faith and, living in faith and having a relationship with divinity and honoring God and praising God, whatever you call God. It doesn't have to be a set definition, whatever your religion is, or it of course doesn't mean that if you have Venus in Pisces you will absolutely join an organized religion, but it is more likely than it would be for Venus in Aquarius, for example, because it also gives Venus in Pisces that sense of community and belonging and that whole feeling of like joining people in praising divinity. So, yeah, so it really attracts them to music because music is a way to, in its higher form, of course, music in particular is something that can elevate the spirit. So, and connect them to this feeling of awe and love of divinity. So they will be particularly attracted to this, but they will also be attracted to any kind of activity that involves the imagination. When it comes to books and films and hobbies that they might have, they will be the kind of people that will love fantasy stories. Like, they will go overboard with fantasy stories. Like, I don't know how many of you have seen that film, What Dreams May Come, or The Fisher King. I don't know. Coincidentally, both of these are with Robin Williams, but I don't know why. I just can't. Just these two movies really kind of give me a Pisces vibe. Again, the theme of the downtrodden is kind of a Pisces thing. They will care about things like, the downtrodden, like helping people who are underprivileged, who are somehow dealt a blow by fate. Even the character of Jean Valjean from Les Miserables is, to me, a very Piscean character. I don't know, again, if you've seen the movie or if you've read the book, it's because the man is basically saved by the grace of a priest who is kind to him, and he swears his life to God and to honor justice and basically to honor God through his life because somebody was, kind to him. So that kind of a theme of like being saved by the grace, the mercy of divinity, that is like very Piscean. And what else can I think about? Also, like I said, yeah, so they are, like, overall, they are very, very spiritual. Like, they are, they're one of the more spiritual signs, definitely. And they will, in terms of romance, they will definitely, like I said, not settle for a relationship that doesn't make them feel like they have a spiritual connection. The problem, though, is that, again, they might be a sucker for a sad story and that they can be too empathetic to the point where they risk being taken advantage of. And yeah, I was going to say something else, but I kind of forgot. Yeah, they do risk... Oh, yeah, and another thing that I wanted to say, again, this is from Vedic Astrology, so don't take it with a grain of salt. Because a lot of Vedic astrology does sound quite fatalistic when you read the traditional texts, but some astrologers have connected this placement to substance abuse because the sad fact of life is that these people are, Pisces in general, but in particular Venus in Pisces, because Venus is very sensitive here, and Venus is the planet of emotions and your desire to connect emotionally to other people. And so in this placement there is a risk of substance abuse, especially if they become, disillusioned in love or disillusioned with life, and they start to lose faith in life and feel betrayed or something. The risk is pretty high. So if you do have this placement, do not fall for that. Be very careful. First of all, be very careful with whom you trust. And second of all, be careful not to fall down the pit of having to drown your sorrows in all kinds of addictions. And this is pretty much what I wanted to say. And also, Venus in Pisces men are gonna be attracted to women who embody all of these qualities. So Venus in Pisces men are definitely the type that will want a fairy tale princess. And the women, of course, like, well, I did say that it is the most romantic sign, but women really believe in the fairy tale romance with this placement. And men will want women who are very feminine, dreamy, and super romantic, and empathetic and kind and sensitive and all those things. So yeah, it is very much a very, very romantic placement. You will kind of get a better sense when I start describing the ascendant examples, because as always I have prepared some ascendant examples for the sign of Pisces, because Venus will be drawn to people with the ascendant in the same sign. So like if you have Venus in Pisces, you are very likely going to be attracted to people who have ascendant in Pisces, because those people are going to physically and emotionally and mentally going to portray the qualities that you find ideal in a romantic partner. And before I get to that, a few examples of people with Venus in Pisces. Albert Einstein. See, this is an intellectual example here. Now, I haven't looked at his entire chart, but in fact, if I remember correctly, Albert Einstein also had his sun in Pisces. But I think he had his sun, Venus, and Saturn in Pisces. And I think one of his most famous quotes is something like, "I want only to know the thoughts, God's thoughts," or something like that. "I only want to know God's thoughts, everything else is detail." I'm pretty sure that's the way the quote went, give or take a few words. Obviously, it's very telling, because his interest, his entire life has been to, understand the higher plan of God. So it is a very spiritual placement. In his case, being conjunct Saturn, it gives him a more pragmatic approach to pursuing his desires. So could very well explain the interest in physics and more rational forms of expressing his love for God. Then Rihanna, Rihanna is a double example, because she has Venus in Pisces, and it's a conjunct moon, and it's conjunct ascendant. Now, this multiple conjunction of Venus, moon, and both of them conjunct ascendant and in Pisces, this is a super feminine energy. So anybody with Venus conjunct moon in general is going to be extremely feminine and kind of give off this kind of charismatic, affectionate, romantic aura. And it's especially in a woman's chart, it is said to make a woman really attractive, because it really magnifies the feminine energy in a woman's chart. And also in her case, having Venus conjunct moon, both of them conjunct ascendant, obviously will magnify all of this. So she is super attractive, because Venus conjunct ascendant in a natal chart in itself is going to bring out the better physical qualities of that particular sign. And then the fact that she also has that conjunct the moon just boosts the overall feminine energy. So she really exudes like a lot of feminine energy. So yeah, it is definitely a great multiple conjunction to have if you are somebody in the limelight, and serves to attract large crowds. George Clooney is another example of somebody with Venus in Pisces. Jennifer Aniston, Venus conjunct Saturn conjunct Rahu in Pisces. Shakira, Venus conjunct Ascendant in Pisces, like Rihanna, except without the moon there. And Shakira is also a really good-looking woman. I'm going to give more details about the physical appearance of Ascendant in Pisces when I get to the Ascendant examples. Then Elizabeth Taylor, Venus conjunct Rahu in the 5th house in Pisces. And I emphasized the house placement here because 5th house is the house of drama and theater. And in general, a lot of famous actors usually have some kind of strong 5th house placement. And anybody in general who enjoys make-believe stories, theater stuff, has some kind of a strong 5th house influence. And so for Elizabeth Taylor, this is a really, again, it's one of those placements that also boosts her femininity, because Venus conjunct Rahu is said to really boost a woman's feminine energy. Rahu magnifies, again. And again, being in Pisces, very romantic, very feminine sort of energy. Abraham Lincoln had Venus in Pisces. He cared about justice for all and all that. He was obviously more interested into the social aspects of Pisces, caring for people and promoting rights and everything. Michael Fassbender, Venus conjunct Sun in Pisces in the 5th house. Again, another strong 5th house placement in Pisces, which, remember, is a sign that really rules imagination, make-believe, stories. So, again, this is great. Like, a lot of people actually who have strong Pisces placements, they are natural actors. Like, they're just good at portraying an energy and convincingly to the world. And also because they are so empathetic, it's pretty easy for them to pick up all the nuances of a person's behavior and to portray those nuances to the world and take on the persona of everybody, because they have such strong empathy that they can really identify with almost anybody. Chris Martin from Coldplay, Venus in the 8th house, ascendant in Leo. Again, great placement for somebody who is creative. So these are just a few examples that I have had for Venus in Pisces. And now for the ascendant examples. Like, I was surprised by all of the ascendant in Pisces people that are just... First of all, I was really surprised by the fact that they all have relatively similar physical energies, and I'm going to get into that in a moment, but also just surprised by how many strong artists are in this placement, with this placement of ascendant in Pisces. And one thing that I can say, so for general description for ascendant in Pisces, when it comes to physical appearance, actually, traditionally, a lot of the times you would hear that Pisces gives below average height, but this is not always necessarily the case, especially since Pisces is ruled by Jupiter. And in terms of height and weight and all this stuff, they tend to come in all shapes and sizes. Jupiter being on the ascendant, they might have a above average tendency to put on weight, or at least even when they are of average weight, they will appear more fleshy than the average person. They're definitely not going to appear dry and brittle unless there's some Saturn aspect on the ascendant as well. And one thing that you will see actually for most people with ascendant in Pisces is that their face is really top heavy. Like, the first thing that you see the first thing that really stands out in their facial features is the eye area, the eye and the forehead. They tend to have high foreheads, and usually they have big eyes, but with comparison to the rest of their face. And the lower half of the face is smaller, so they tend to have smaller mouths and generally have slim jawlines, unless, again, there are other influences there. So, like, if you have, like, Mars, Sun, then it's going to be a totally different, well, not totally different, but it is going to change things. But in general, people with ascendant in Pisces have beautiful eyes. Like, the eyes is usually the most attractive feature, and they are also usually bigger than average eyes. They are, they have very soulful, dreamy looking eyes. Like, they either look like they are, lost in their little dream world, or depending on their mood, they can either come across as aloof, or they can come across as very empathetic and have very kind eyes, and really kind of are able to really connect with people emotionally through their eyes, and really just convey any emotion. This is why oftentimes also a lot of people with Ascendant in Pisces, I guess, make very good actors, because again, they're very good at portraying emotions, as Pisces is naturally possibly not one of the most emotional sign. So yeah, some examples, and I'm gonna put some photos in the video. And something that I really occurred to me while I was gathering information for the video is that movie, The Love Witch. First of all, I'm not going to say that movie was not the most positive message out there, but the whole character of the Love Witch is actually very Piscean, because I don't know how many of you have seen the movie. It's like the main character is basically a woman who is obsessed, in her own words, obsessed with love, and she is a love addict basically. And her whole life is basically revolving around the idea of romantic love and attracting love and living a fairy tale romance. And I actually looked for the main actress. I think her name was Samantha Robinson. I actually looked for her chart, but unfortunately I couldn't find her chart with a birth time, so I guess her birth time is not known. Unfortunately, I can't know her ascendant, but based on her physical appearance, she actually could be a Pisces ascendant, because she does have that top-heavy face with the really big, beautiful eyes, and her mouth is quite small by comparison. So she could definitely look, she looks very feminine to me. So she could definitely be an ascendant in Pisces. But unfortunately, since I don't know her time of birth, I can't say for sure. But the whole aesthetic of that film and the whole idea, to me, is very Piscean. Even though it's more like a Pisces gone bad. Yeah, no spoilers. So, just a little parenthesis. So, examples of people with Ascendant in Pisces. So, James Dean, Rihanna, Shakira, like I mentioned before, Penelope Cruz. Again, like, to me, Penelope Cruz is such an obvious example of an Ascendant in Pisces, because she has those huge eyes and, relatively small mouth and, like, jawline. So, she has, like, a very feminine appearance. Dreamy and all that with the big eyes. Another example, Isabella Adjani, who I think she's a French actress. To me, again, she does match that Pisces description. She has kind of like that faraway look in her eyes, and definitely her eyes are her most attractive feature. And Lucy Lawless. She has Sun conjunct Moon conjunct Ascendant. See here with Lucy Lawless, by the way, in case you don't know, she's the actress who played Xena in the 90s series. And in her case, this is an example of how planets can really shape the Ascendant, because she has Sun conjunct the Ascendant, which is definitely going to give her the more athletic body type. And even though with Moon conjunct Ascendant in Pisces, she still has the typical, she has like these really blue eyes, definitely her best feature. So she does have that kind of dreamy, fairy tale-y, she does look like a fairy tale character for sure. Right. And also the smaller half of the lower half of the face is being smaller than the upper half of her face. Also, Jeff Bezos, again, is very Piscean, huge eyes. It matches the whole description of having the, the smaller lower half of the face, relatively narrow jaw compared to his forehead and the upper side of his head. Another example, Che Guevara, again, relatively big eyes. Stevie Nicks, musician. Johann Sebastian Bach, I don't know, you take it or leave it, because who knows if his birth time is accurate, because he lived centuries ago. Another good example, Barbra Streisand. Her, again, she was, great singer, definitely a screen icon, and again, I think her eyes are her most striking feature. And she's definitely, known for portraying, very emotional, real characters in a very convincing way. Another example, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, or Levitt, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Again, he fits the description. Tiny mouth, big eyes. Morgan Freeman, Stephen Arroyo, who happened to be an astrologer. Amber Rose, again, top-heavy face with the big eyes. Richard Burton, again, matches the physical description. Sophie Turner, the actress who plays... Oh God, I forgot the character's name. You know who she plays. Sophie Turner, who plays the... Oh my God, I forgot her name. Anyway, Alzheimer's. Who plays the red-headed character. The red-headed character in Game of Thrones. You're gonna see who she is, because I'm gonna put her photo in the video. Paris Jackson, obviously very striking eyes. Joan Rivers. Marcel Proust. Marcel Proust, who was a French writer. I'm not sure about his physical appearance. I don't know. I haven't even looked. But he did write, romantic, dreamy works of art. So that matches. Gaspard Ulliel, another French actor. I think he has also some Saturn on his appearance, because his appearance is a little bit harsher. But he definitely has the pretty emotional eyes. He played the young Hannibal, in case you don't know. I think the movie was called Hannibal Rising. Did I mention Chris Rock? I think so. So Chris Rock, Brie Larson, Louis Armstrong, John Voight, and Joe Collins, and Bo Derek. So these are just some examples that I have gathered, but there are tons of them out there. You can just look for more. So this is it. This has been my description for Venus in Pisces. I hope you have enjoyed it. And once again, if you like it, please like the video, subscribe, hit the notifications bell, leave a comment, any feedback. And and if you're interested in a personal consultation, email me at the email that I will leave in the video description. And that was it. And thank you.